All right, guys, we're gonna get back at it this morning. It's early here. I'm gonna try to just get the rest of this load knocked out early, and then maybe I can go ahead and crate it up today as well, and see how many totes we end up filling. But yeah, I'm gonna get you guys set up and just on a time lapse, and we'll get this finished up. I've got the 6th live deck is loaded right now. I'm also, curious to see how many live decks we get out of the load, out of that 35-ton load, and I'm thinking we're gonna probably have about, see, that's number 6, maybe 4 more, so probably a total of 10. But I'll update you guys after we're finished up, and we'll see how big of a pile we get made here. And also, I didn't mention yesterday, I had about 2.5 hours into it yesterday. I had to load a customer up. Customer came, so I stayed at it till just before 5 o'clock, and I had started at about 2. So it was about 2.5 hours what I had into it, if you take that time out that I had to load that customer there. So yeah, I'm curious to know how long it takes me, and that's just by myself, so single operator, running all this stuff. So I'm definitely over halfway through, so I'll keep up with the time as well, and I want to quantify everything I can. So but we'll get going here. A quick update. That's 8 live decks there on the ground. Pretty good sized pile. Let's check out the resplit trailer, see what it's looking like. I know I need to move it back right now. It's heaped up all the way to the top there of the tumbler, so I need to go ahead and move it. And then I'm gonna, I don't know, this is getting pretty full too. So that's 8 live decks in there. I'll go ahead and pull this trailer forward. Got plenty of room in the trailer to fit the rest of the resplits, no problem there. I might just break that down and try to get one more live deck in that hopper there, the debris hopper. Let me just show you. So this is live deck number 9 loaded, and then I should be able to definitely get it all in one more live deck. So it's gonna end up being 10 live decks for that 35-ton load. And I mean, that's good for me to know too. I've never done a test like this. Usually I separate species, so I wouldn't process the whole load like this. So this is kind of rare, and it's nice to be able to quantify everything like this. And I'm going to get a lot of good numbers that I think is going to help, help inform a lot of people of different things, and as well as myself. So I'm looking forward to it, and we'll continue and go ahead and run these last 2 live decks. All right, guys, so before I start making more wood, I'm still on that 9th live deck. I haven't done it, so just the same as where I brought you, but I wanted to just go ahead and get the debris over here. We've got a pallet scale, so this is the best we have. We don't have anything we can put this in a truck and scale out a full-size truck, but I wanted to show you guys the weight. And of course, this is minus the weight of the hopper itself, and it rained here, so it's probably got a little bit of water in the bottom of it. But I'll scale out the hopper itself. I've never done that, but we're right at 3,403 pounds. Hopefully you guys can see that. And I'll get an empty weight on the hopper at some point as well. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and empty this into the fire, and then we'll run those last 2 live decks. I think I should have 10 live decks pretty much. And the debris will of course go into here, and then I'm going to go ahead and scoop the sawdust into here as well and scale that out one more time. And that way we'll have a weight on pretty much all our debris. Of course, there's going to be some debris in the finished wood and that kind of thing, so I'll just add a little bit to the number once I start figuring things up. But And we'll go ahead and get started making some more wood here in just a minute. This is the 10th live deck right here, so it's a good, just pretty much full 10 live decks on that 35-ton load. So that's good. I mean, and each live deck, usually I'll put one in the trough too. So, you know, you got 10, you know, 9 or 10 of those that went in the trough, plus the live decks themselves. We're completely out of logs now. And then I'm gonna end up with 2 IPCs with stovewood in it. And then I've got a couple that are full length that need to be, well, that one's short, but that one's full length that just wouldn't fall in quite right for me. So, but I'm gonna put those on top of here as well once I get that last live deck in here, and we'll be scaling these. So then I know kind of how many end cuts and things that we get and weight wise, you know, so we know how much finished wood we're getting in relation to debris and stove wood. And a lot of this stuff, a lot of you guys might just, you know, I square cut the ends most of the time. So like if it's, you know, an angle cut like this, I'll square cut that so that it ends up with, you know, full length pieces of wood all the way across the log instead of just sections like that. So a lot of that y'all might not do, you know, isn't necessarily, you know, required for sure, but you know, and that's what makes up a lot of these baskets. So yeah, I'm gonna get going, get this last one done. You know, we've only got 1 live deck worth of debris in here now since I did just empty it. So we'll end up with 2 live decks of debris in there. And then I'm gonna put the sawdust in there as well. And then I might also put just some of this little bit of scrap that I rake out from these areas. I rake out right there and rake out right there. And of course, just some stuff falls that I'm not gonna worry about, but you know, just try to get it as accurate as I can anyways. We'll just add a little bit to it and compensate for some of that stuff that I'm not going to be putting in the trash. Yeah, and then the resplit trailer is going to end up being maybe 3/4 full once this live deck's done. So, and then like I say, I'm going to resplit that straight into some crates, so we'll be able to quantify every bit of it going into crates. Go ahead and run this last live deck, and then we'll get some of that trash, that debris weighed and scaled out as well. So we got it all done. Took me just a little bit shy of 5 hours to do all that, probably 4 hours and 45 minutes to do that 35-ton load. So that's something we definitely want to keep track of, and I'll be putting into the factor of costs and everything. And that's just one operator, so you know, no one else helped load or anything like that. And you know, This pile's pretty good size. I did find a couple really large pieces, and I'm sure there's a few buried in there, you know, because my tumbler's got that broken bar on it. But check this piece out right here that snuck through that 9-inch gap. That's a monster right there. So I'll throw those into the resplit trailer, this one and this one as well. And you know, any more that I find, if I see any on the outskirts, I'll do that as well. But yeah, this will be the pile that we'll be crating up, seeing how many crates we get out of it, and as well as the resplit trailer, we'll resplit straight into some crates. I'll show you what that ended up looking like all said and done here. You know, I'd say a good 3/4 of a trailer, which is pretty good. I mean, out of a whole tractor trailer like that, to just have that much. And you know, some of these will be finished pieces that won't need splitting. I mean, I can see one, you know, right in that area that's, you know, just a normal size piece. I mean, several more. There's, you know, a center cut right there. So those do sneak through sometimes, but then like I say, you get some larger pieces in with the finished wood as well. So it's not a perfect thing, but it definitely saves a ton of labor. So here's what our hopper looks like right now. That's got the last two live decks in it. And like I say, what I'm gonna do with that, I'm gonna bring that over, put it near my sawdust, and I'm gonna put my sawdust in there, and then I'll scale that out. And I'm gonna Alright guys, well my SD card filled up on me out there while I was getting that IBC tote and carrying it over here to the shop. I'm going to scale both of these stove wood pieces, and then there's just one that's full length that, you know, I'll be ended up bobcat splitting this stuff down, but I'm just trying to get a weight on everything. So I'm going to go ahead and zero out my scale here. It's as simple as this. Just turn this thing on. It's a pallet scale. It zeroes itself out. We'll put that on there and we'll see what it scales at, and then we'll go get the other one, do the same thing, and then I'll be going and getting the debris hopper, filling it up with our sawdust, and coming back and weighing it as well. Alright guys, so that one weighs 1,472 pounds. I'm also going to get an empty weight on an IBC cage. Not these particular ones, I'm not going to empty these, but I'll get, you know, they're all within a few pounds. So that was 1,472, and then we'll go grab the other one, see what it weighs, and then get an empty so we can subtract that weight too. So. All right, so here's the second one, and this one weighs a little bit more, 1688. Let's see if you can see that, 1688 on that one. So, and that makes sense. It's definitely a good bit more packed in there and filled up. So. Go ahead and load up that sawdust into that hopper, and I'm probably going to get a little bit of that debris that's easy to get with the bucket as well and put it in there, and then we'll scale that out. Much it as far as the debris goes. I went ahead and got just a little bit from right there, you know, I didn't spend a lot of time doing that. I'll show you in just a minute, but the sawdust is bare. I think it's pretty close to how it was before I started. You know, of course, there's a little bit more debris under the machine that, you know, adds up to just a tiny bit, but not a lot. I'll add a little number to our debris factor, you know, because there's definitely some debris in the finished wood as well. So we'll accommodate for that. But everything over here is pretty well cleaned up. I just kind of back dragged it and scooped up what I could. Pretty darn close to all the debris off of this tractor trailer, and we'll go scale this out. And then I'll dump it, get an empty weight on this, and then we still got to get an empty weight on our IBC cage as well. So we'll get that taken care of. All right, so our second hopper debris, if I remember right, the other one was 3403 or something like that, I believe. This one's 3563, which kind of shocks me. I figured the other one would have been heavier. But yeah, we'll go ahead and dump this. We'll get an empty weight on the hopper itself, and then an empty weight on that IBC. 1,394 pounds on that hopper with it empty. So that'll reduce the waste by a good bit when we double that. Two of those hoppers, 1,394. All right, guys. So I got that empty IBC, and I wanted to find one. Both of those had plastic bottoms on them, and they were 275 gallons. So that's what I found. One of them had one of the plastic pieces broke off, but that's not going to affect the weight a whole lot. So this will be the closest I've got. So we're right at, it's going between 93 and 94 pounds. So that's a lot heavier than I actually thought it was. So we'll call it 93 pounds. That'll be our empty weight that we'll subtract out of our stove wood there. All right, guys, so I think we got everything accomplished that I wanted to in that video. I wanted to get obviously everything processed, everything scaled out, so that we know you know, a good starting point. And if y'all aren't subscribed yet, or y'all need to right now, because I mean I'm gonna be making a few more videos, so I definitely suggest subscribing if y'all want to keep up with this. I mean, it's gonna be some really good information. I'm looking forward to the numbers, running the numbers myself. I wish I could have found a video like this a long time ago, back before I ever started doing firewood, and that way you kind of know the hard numbers of what you yield per ton, you know, of finished firewood. That is putting it through a 16-way wedge on a processor. I mean, you know, if you were to do all this with a chainsaw and you know, a single-way knife on a splitter, sure, you wouldn't have quite as much debris, but you'd have a whole lot more labor and time into it. So and that's the biggest factor that we're trying to save, is time, as well as, you know, our body. You know, you can't do that on a large scale for very long, and you know, it's just not sustainable. So yeah, I hope you guys follow along and keep up with these next few videos. I'm going to be, you know, kind of running the numbers. I'm going to be crating up this wood, see how many crates we get, and then running a bunch of numbers and seeing where we come out. You know, the different ways that we sell wood. We sell it in a few different ways, of course. Picked up here, delivered seasoned, delivered kiln dried. You know, we deliver it and stack it. We'll deliver it and drop it. So I just want to know, you know, our margins on anything that we're doing. So I'm looking forward to learning that myself, figuring that out as accurately as we can. And I hope you guys follow along and enjoyed this video. And we'll catch you on the next one.